Hello everyone, my name is Oliver. I'm 7 years old. Now we read with teacher Prince Stuart. Hey kids, hi, you going? Welcome back to American Textbook Reading. I'm Prince Stuart. Here you're ready to go to school. We're going into this lesson now. Lesson 2, time for school. In this lesson, you discover rules to follow at school. Let's talk about rules. What are rules? What's their vocabulary words? And what discuss? Of course, rules are very important. Let's get started and talk about vocabulary. The first word to talk about is class. Class. Word a period of time is a period of time to teach a group of students. Let's say class. You can say when. When is your class? Talking about this one. And when is your class? My class is at 10 o'clock. It's 10 for 11. From class to where's your class? It's a period of time. A period of time you were supposed to do certain things. Listen to your teacher and raise your hand. Now what talking about in this lesson? We are arguing with your class. You are arguing. You can say I'm at school. The school is a big building. In that building there are many small rooms. You are in a classroom. Classroom is a very easy word because it's the room where you have class. Classroom is a room. What kind of room? A classroom. A place in school used to teach a group of students. A group of students. By the way, talk about class. You just learn class. It's a part that you study with the teacher. But we can also use another definition. Class is a group of students. That can also be used as class. How big is your class? How big is your class? In that way, class is a group of students. There's two definitions for class. 1, man, the period of time. 2, the group of students. When's your class? That the period of time. How big is your? That's a group of students. And you have a class, your classroom. And want together with your class, you were in a classroom. The place where the class means. The place where the class is held. Okay, let's move on. The principal. A principal. Who's the prince? So the prince is a head teacher. But there are many teachers in the school. In your class, there is one teacher. But the head teacher is the chief, right? The top boss or the boss of all the teachers. Who's in charge of the school. Interesting. He's in charge of. That means the principal's in charge of school. There are the person who's like the top boss of the school. And first who's responsible for the entire school. That's a person knows all the rules, make sure during the talk and make sure the other students are being and properly. You don't want to go to the principal office. It goes to the principal office, that means you're in trouble. So stay away from the principal office. Be good a student. You have to go to the principal office. A prince is a nice person. Unfortunately, part of the job is to talk to the bad students. And they should make the bad things. The part of the job. Your teacher You don't want to be the principal every day. You need to stay out the principal office. Okay. Rule. First line to introduce. Talk about rules to follow in school. What's a rule? A rule is an instruction. Instruction is something that's adult empower and measure what to do. That's an instruction about what people must do or must not do. There are things that you should do in the school or when you are home. The things that you should not do. Things that we should do or should not do. Must do or must not do. What are those things? If carefully we can see some rules. 1. Listen. Listen when someone else is speaking. If you're in class and not the student speaking, you should listen. When you finish, then you can talk. You should listen first. That's a rule. Work wisely at your desk. Don't run around making noise. Work at your desk wisely. Don't disturb the other student. That's another rule. Don't disturb. Don't disturb the other students. Other students. Okay. Don't disturb the other students. Okay, that's a rule. That's something you don't do. Raise your hand when you need help. That's a very common rule. You do. There's a thing we don't do. There are rules. We talk about rules. There's a type of responsibility. Responsibility are following the rules. Responsibility is follow the rules. That's our responsibility. Follow the rules. And it's something that people should do. Something that we should do with the students is follow the rules at school. That's our responsibility. Something we should do. Steady there, okay? Something that we should do is wearing seatbelt. That's crazy. At least as you are riding a car, it's usually to wear in your seatbelt. It's your parents' responsibility to make sure you're wearing a seatbelt. And what people should do, what you should do, those are responsibility. One response is follow the rules. Why do we follow rules? Also follow rules because make life difficult? No. The short rules might make life difficult. They are more important reason. They're important reason for rules and that to make it fair. We talk about fair. It means in a way that's right and honest. Another word, we want to be right means correct. We want to behave in the right way. To behave in the honest way. Because they're fair for everybody. And for this have advantage with another. You shouldn't take advantage of other people. Take advantage. Take advantage of other person because you are mine to them. Until how they believe in you. You break their trust in you. Take advantage of somebody or steal something from somebody. Is taking advantages from other people. You shouldn't do that because that causes problem, cause fight, cause people they feeling or hurt. If everything is fair, everybody is treated the same way, and everything is fair, and everybody is happy. If you act in a way that's right and are honest, everybody will be you'll be proud of yourself. Or people will like you because you're correct and honest. Everybody is happy. Of course, you should be fair. And of course, talk about fair. Now follow. Talk about that before. Follow means to obey. I talk to you guys. Follow the rules. Follow the rules. because it's your responsibility. And follow the rules. Follow means to obey. It's very similar. Visual situation was teaching the dog the rules. Sit, stay. And the dog is obey. The dog is following the boys say. But we're not dogs. But we should also follow the rules because that's fair for everybody else. Okay, follow the teacher. Follow the responsibility. Follow the rules. When you get older, the children will follow you. Let's take a look at our chart. Here have a diagram showing the rules to follow at school. Follow rules. As the teacher doing, you can understand. The teacher is shh, and they teach the class thing. Follow direction. Teacher, shh, be quiet. Shh, be quiet. She's telling the class to do something, giving direction, and follow those direction. And follow the teacher's direction. Here, what are these two kids? They have to be painting something, and they're sharing the paint. They're sharing it. They help each others. Another rule to follow is help the other students. Have to share with many people. That's okay. Help each other. Others, you can help your friends and class. Okay, next one. Another rule to follow, raise your hand to talk. Don't just talk in the class. In the class, you don't just start talking, raise your hand. And the teacher will say, okay, go ahead. Last person, raise your hand. I have a question, raise your hand to talk. These girls are following the rules and they're raising their hand. They don't talk right away, they raise their hand first. Finally, I have important rules because want to be safe. Do not run in the hallway. Do not run in the hallway. That's not safe. In fact, many rules are done because we want to be safe. We want to be safe and to be fair. There's too many reasons why we are following rules at school. One reason is to be safe, not in the hallway as we run and hit other people. That's dangerous. And to be safe. Another reason to follow is that we are fair to other students. We don't talk when they're talking. That's not fair. They switch their terms. That's fair. So two main reasons why follow rules school. One is to be fair, and two safe. Two is to be fair. To follow rules, we are safe and we are fair. Okay, right now we can pass the words and to the definition. These are words up here and we need to match with the definition. Now alone, our words are class, classroom, principal, rule, responsibility. That's a long word. Responsibility. Fair. That's this word. Let's map this to a definition in a way that's disrupt and honest. How we talk about this. Behave with the way that's correct or right. And be honest to each other. And we do those things. What are we being? You should be what? You should be fair. Okay, be fair in your act in a way that's fair. You're being correct, is right, and you're being honest to act in that way. And be fair. So be fair to everyone. Number 2, something that people should do. We talked about this a little bit. We said you should do wear your seatbelt. Another thing you should do is follow the rules. Another thing you should do is what the wrong words. Remember, it's responsibility. This is our responsibility. That's to follow the rule. That's responsibility to wear a seatbelt. It's something people should do. It's their responsibility. It's your responsibility. It's her responsibility. Whose responsibility is it? What should they do? Number 3, the head teacher, the head teacher, the boss, the top boss, the person who is in charge of the school, responsible. Of course, the school, they are person who set the rule. You don't want to go to this person's office. Who is that person? The principal. The principal. Okay, now on to number 4. Number 4 is periods of time. That's two definitions. That's one of them is periods of time, and the other one a group of students start together. This is period of time to teach a group of students. Have other one here. A group of students. What is it? Is of course a class. A class is a period of time to study together. It's also a group of students who study together in this room, the class. Okay, now, we chose 2 or 5. That we're talking about 8 points. 8 points in school. Used to teach a group of students. Where does your class means? When it's time for class, where do you go? You go, of course, to the classroom. That's where the other group students be. That's where the class means. And what you go when it's time for class. Okay, now we are classroom. Number 6. An instruction about what people must do or must not do. Must do or must not do. An instruction. One instruction. One instruction. You singular or many instructions. There's many instructions, not just one. Many. In the plurals. One called that a rule. It's not just one rule, no, many rules, right? Some rules tell you what you must do. Some rules tell you what you must not do. One rule tell you what you must do. Raise your hand before speaking. You must do this. A rule tell you what you must not do. Don't run in the hallway. That's the rule you must not do. Rules tell what you must do, you must not do. We have a chart here. We talk about school. For lesson is about time for school. There are many rooms in school. In school are big buildings. Many complex in the school. Look at one of those. That's a classroom. Some other classroom over here. What other room can be found in the school? What do you go if you want to read books? You to find a book, what's a place to read that book? You go to a library. After quiet, the rules in the library: be quiet, don't run. This is a library. There are student groups that you go for the whole day. Have many classes in a day. We are hungry. That means we have to go somewhere to eat lunch. Let we go to a cafeteria. The cafeteria, some place you can buy food. You can buy food, or you can bring your food from home. Otherwise, you eat it in a cafeteria with your friend. Okay, eating the food in the cafeteria. We're going to eat lunch. Go to a cafeteria. Now, of course, after you eat, you might get busy, or sometimes in the morning before lunch, in short time, in the school day, kids go outside to play. Have a good place to play. Have to have like swings, slides, have fun things to play around. What do you call that area? That's called a playground. It's a ground area where do you play? And there's many fun things to do on the playground. have slides, have swings. You have bars that you can swing on it. There are many types of toys you can do in the playground. Of course, be nice to everybody of playground. So responsibility, play safe and play fair. Okay. Finally, in a school room or in a school building, have many classrooms. Have to go from one classroom to another classroom. Where do you go? To do what? In the hallway. The hallway is space between classrooms. There's a wide space so many students can walk back and forth. And in many schools, also in the hallway, you can find a place to put your bags and your books. They call this place a locker. The locker called student are located in the hallway. The hallway is very wide. Let's move on. Let's write the word that best fits in the blanks. Let's talk the places. What are these places and what are the rules? We have a place. Here have a picture of a boy reading a book. The rule is do not disturb other people. And over here have a picture of a place, a classroom. To be quiet and listen to the teacher. These are places. What are these? I said these are rules. But do not disturb other people. They are negative. What you must not do. Do not disturb other people. He's not disturbing everybody. He's obeying and following the rules. He's quietly reading a book by himself. Here the teachers teach something about the world and those have math on the blank. But in the classroom, students are being quiet and listen to the teacher. Be quiet, listen to the teacher. That's something you should do. She's talking about where math came from. They talk by inch. Okay, but anyway, she's quiet, listen to the teacher. That's a rule that should follow in the classroom. Okay, we come to a true or false question. The false has circle F is true circle T. Let's take a look at these sentences here. A classroom is a period of time to teach a group of students. That sound right? A classroom a period of time. The room period of time. There's a room is a place. A room is a place, not a period of time. A classroom is a place where you teach a group of students. As you see teaching a group of students, practice is grounds to change the sentence right. It will be false. Number two, a responsibility. I talk about responsibility. What's your responsibility? A different type. For something that people should do. For responsibility is where was something you should do. Follow the rules at school. That's something you should do. So this responsibility, this sentence true. Responsibility is something people should do. Number three, we talked about principal before. The instruction you don't want to go to your principal office, and that's time you don't really want to go to your principal office. And you're going to a principal office, you're in trouble. A principal is an instruction about what people must do or must not do. Does that sound right? A principal, remember, is a person. A principal is a person destroying. A person, a person, not an instruction. That doesn't make sense. That is not true. It doesn't make sense. A print is not an instruction. Okay, she's a principal. It's a rule. Then this sentence would be correct. A rule is an instruction about people must do or must not do. That's true. After change the sentence to make sure the sentence is false. Okay, that wraps up the vocabulary section. Let's take a short break. We'll come back and take a reading. Okay, kids, welcome back. Let's go over the reading together. Of course, our subject is time for school. We're talking about things at school, or things to do at school. And we can see at school. We're at school. When we are at school, there are some important rules to remember. Have to remember to don't forget the rules. In the classroom, during class, there is this sentence is during. In the classroom, the place where you study during class and periods of time that you study. We must be quiet. We must be quiet. And once the rules that we should remember. We must be quiet. That's one rule. Another rule is listen to the teacher. We are another rule. We should do these things. So there's important rules to remember. One must be quiet and two must listen to the teacher. Also, we must also be quiet and not disturb other people in the library. Okay, at school there are many different places. At school there are classroom, that's one place. Have another place in library. There are rules for these different places. In the classroom, one rule, we must be quiet. Two, we must listen to the teacher. In the library, we must be quiet. Also, we must not disturb other people. Remember, rules are positive and negative. Thing we must do and thing we must not do. If we see a must do, we must not do it. Those are our rules. Okay, let's move on here. Other place, of course, the school talk about. Another place in hallway. Classroom talk about library. Talk about hallway. In the hallway, another you should walk carefully. Walk carefully. Don't run. Be careful about what you're walking. You're walking to other people, bump into other people. Don't do that. Walk carefully. Walk careful in the hallway to watch where you go. Watch where you are going. The both parent teacher message is using your cell phone and walking. Don't do that. That's not carefully. Watch where you are going. Look, be careful. Be nice to other people. Not this book. Pump other people. Not being very fair because you're using your time, eating your time. And importantly, other person. That's not be fair. Watch where you are. Watch carefully. Another place, school talk about classroom, talk about library, talk about how the cafeteria. Cafeteria is where we eat our lunch. We also have rules must follow. When you're in the cafeteria, you have responsibility to follow rules. Those of these because rules help us be fair. When in the hallway, walk carefully. Not bump to other people. Must be fair. You say but I'm doing this more important than your safety. That's not fair. We should always be fair and follow the rules because rules help us be fair. Remember, they also help us be safe. So there are two main rules for order to make reason. By follow the rules, the court wants to be fair. That's very important. Okay, now important. There are places that we should follow the rules at school. These rules also help us be safe. These help us be fair. They help us be safe. The principal of the school, the principal, the teacher, and the student should all follow the rules. And the principal, like the head teacher of the bus, they still have to follow the rules too. Everybody follow the rules because they want to be safe and be fair. So follow the rules to make a happier and safer school. They follow the rules to have fair. Everybody is safe and people are safe. We want the school to be a good environment for us to study. for everybody to be happy at school, and to be safe for school, everybody to feel everybody be treated fairly. And follow the rules means things will happen. I'll have happy and safe school. That's very good. What isn't? Okay, I'll come to a reading chart here. The students got his cause and effect. Remember, cause is action condition that happened. The action that will be factor result. Community for the reading passes. We have rules to follow. The rules to follow in many different places. In a classroom, in the library, in a cafeteria, and hallway, and different races have causes. The action that we do have effects are the same, have different causes. Let's to fill the blanks. We have 4 blanks and 4. We must be. What about library? Library is a more important place. How we talk about how we say people will not disturb other people in the library. Disturb other people in the library. That's all correct. One have to be quiet and pay attention to in the library. The third one, we should walk carefully in the white. When we walking from one class to another class, where we are in the hallway, we should walk carefully in the hallway. What are these causes? What's the action that we do? Now, if we do these things, what's the result? That is effect. What happened because we do this action? The effect is we will be and safe in school. That means we'll be what? Be happier and safe in school. Of course, that we talk about fair and reaches. Want to be safe, we follow the rules. And rules we follow these rules, and we will be happier and safe in school. And let's talk about this reading comprehension question. How I do remember the reading. What's number 1 at school? There are some rules to what? To make a rules at school. Not the rules are already there. Or then we go to school, make rules. We go to school. At school, we follow the rules. We follow the rules. Disturb the rules. We are not people, they cannot be disturbed. And it's to follow. We follow the rules. We obey the other people. We follow the rules. That's good. We follow the rules. There are some rules to follow. Number 2, what rule we should follow? Finally, that's the question number 1 right there. What rule should we follow in the hallway? What's a hallway? When we're in the hallway, what should we do? We should listen carefully. No, we're listening to. That's very easy. There's nowhere when talking to and listen instruction. And we should listen carefully to the classroom, not eat in the hallway. We should eat carefully in the hallway. Actually, we shouldn't eat in the hallway. We should eat in the cafeteria. You can't eat it. That's the dangerous. I hit you when it goes in your lunch or on your face. You shouldn't eat in the hallway. I'll walk carefully. Sure, in the hallway, that's where you walk one classroom to the other classroom. You should be careful about what you don't run. Walk carefully. Watch where you're going. And number 3, in the library. In the library, students should do what? Think what? We talk different places in school. In the library. And library, eat their lunch quietly and not run. You eat your lunch in the library. You should not eat your lunch in the library. Your books will be ruined. Parents will be very angry. So don't eat your lunch in the library. And like is to be quiet and not disturb others. Does that sound right to you? Sure, it doesn't. That's the right answer. In the library, we need to concentrate. They're thinking about the book. If you're loud, disturb them, and they can't study. You should be quiet. and not disturb others. Okay, see, walk carefully and touch others. Does that make sense? Read down rules. Do not disturb others in the library. Number 4. We have responsibility. Responsibility, thing that we should do. Have a responsibility to follow rules. That's why. Because rules help be safe and fair. Now, that's true. Is that true? That's two things we're talking about. Rules help be safe and help be fair. It's responsibility to follow the rules because they help us be safe and they help us be fair. Look, see, teacher practice. They have responsibility to follow rules, but teacher and principal do not have to. A teacher don't have to follow the rules, right? No, that's not right. Teacher and the principal, everybody follow the rules. There are certain things people should do that should not do. People have rules too. They come to the class on the time. They don't shout. They should shout. The other students they should be prepared for the classes. These are rules that teachers have. Our principal has a rule, very important rule. Our principal to be fair to all the students and making sure we follow rules. Everybody should follow the rules. Let's look at number 6, but we have to follow rules in the classroom. Like there are no rules. Run around, have fun. No, there are important rules you have to follow in the classroom. We do have to follow rules in the classroom. A is our answer. Rules help us safe and fair. Okay. Now let's look at our chart. What we saw before. Rules to follow at school. What should we do at school? If our teacher tell us, shh, be quiet. You should do what? You should follow direction. She's telling us to do something, and follow direction. Follow direction. As you said, you do something, you should do it. You should not to do something, you should that's and follow directions. So what's these two students? What are they doing? They seem to be collaborative. They're helping each other. Help others. That's another good rules to follow at school. Helps others. Help others. Down here was discouraged. They're behaving well. They want to talk. They don't just stop. They raise their hand to talk. Raise their hand to talk. Another rules at school. Finally, in our classroom, have any chart for these kids in the hallway. And they have, if you're in the hallway, from one class to another class, but do not run in the hallway. Do not run in the hallway. That's another rules you should follow. Now all different rules are followed at school. Lesson number 2, we're talking about time for school. We talk about different places. That's for classroom, for library, cafeteria, many different places. And sometimes there are different rules where it's different places at school. Okay? Well, next time you're going to think about those rules. Think about what you should do, what you shouldn't do. Remember, we follow rules and we're safe and we're fair to everybody. And happy and to be safe. You guys will stay safe. I'll see you next time. Take care.